Hey guys, welcome to the fourth module of this course, which is validation. Validation means bringing the audience into the creative process. So, the standard model of communication has three components: the sender, the message, and the receiver. So, the sender, your company, develops a message, a web page, ad, or a brochure, a direct mail, or something of a marketing content, and sends it to the receiver, your target audience, and the communication is complete. So, what this model fails to recognize is that real world communication is a dialogue. I say something to you, and you say something back. You may say it only to yourself, but like when you read your magazine or something like that, but your brain is a vital component for all this communication system. So, you respond by buying this advertised brand or mentally storing this information for future use, or simply just turn the page. With the standard communication model, the sender doesn't know and seemingly doesn't care how the receiver actually responded. So the standard model is pretty antique. Today we can no longer afford to close our eyes, like send out this message into the audience and cross our fingers hoping that it will hit the target. The companies actually need a feedback right now. So feedback turns communication into something more like a theater performance than a magazine. If we are dying on stage, the audience let us know. The feedback is immediate and unambiguous, which let us make the appropriate changes before the next performance. So, when we collect the feedback from the customers, the communication model has the fourth component. The sender creates a message, sends it to a receiver, and instead of stopping there, the communication continues as the receiver sends a message back. With every turn around the feedback loop, the communication gets stronger and more focused. The new model is a blueprint for revolution. It transforms marketing communication into contact sports and spectators into full participants. When experts test the product designs, the reaction of the shoppers for the prototypes often differed in the extremes. Shopper A would love the design and shopper B would hate the design. So they began to realize the audience for one product was likely to be different than the audience for the other, and the taste in design was also likely to be different. So a little more concentrated research revealed a fundamental split between the two main personality types: those who relied mostly on the hard facts to make the purchase, and those who mostly relied on the soft information, those are the feelings. So eventually they were able to chart the difference they found in the shoppers they encountered. So the chart divides the world into four mindsets based on people's job interests: applying, creating, preserving, and discovering. Now, appliers, for example, gravitate towards graphics that are precise, realistic, and familiar, while creators go for the lyrical, abstract, and the novel ones. So, guess what? If you divide the chart down in the middle, you have the approximate map of the left brain and the right brain. Innovators often feel that using research is like trying to chart the future in a rearview mirror. They've seen too many products and messages aimed where the audience was last sighted, instead where they'll be most likely to group tomorrow. Okay, the creativity is subjective, but it's only subjective until it reaches the marketplace. Then it's measurable. Ford and Sony's innovations certainly were measured, but not by research, but the market itself. But what if we could test the most innovative ideas before they got to the market? Couldn't testing help you protect a potential breakthrough from the fear of being stupid? Well, the answer is absolutely. And if you can't prove that your concept will work, you can at least turn a wild guess into an educated one and give your collaborators enough confidence to proceed. The direction of business is always forward. The good research is the least amount of information that gets you out of the first gear onto the highway. Often the first thing company does when they are faced with a big decision is to order up a big massive study. The bigger the better, because a large sample will minimize the degree of unreliability involved in the study. While quantitative research is long on numbers, it's short on insights, the little epiphanies that can lead to the breakthroughs. Of course, if you want to cover your ass, you can go for this big stack of quantitative data or numbers. While quantitative data or quantitative studies, impressive as it is, it can lead to something known as an analysis paralysis. When companies try to turn themselves into meaningful initiatives, somehow all those numbers can cause people to focus on the small measurable improvements that don't require any real courage, and in the end it doesn't make any difference. And afterwards they will provide you with a built-in bullshit saying we tried that and it didn't work. It didn't work because it wasn't powered by this heart pounding insights. It went after a small problem instead of hunting for the big one. So it's usually better to get a rough answer to the right question than to get a detailed answer for the wrong question. So the best studies are the ones that's very quick and the dirty ones. Want to check out the effectiveness of your brand icon? Here's a simple test you can perform even without leaving your office. Swap a part of your icon, the name or the visual part, with a competing brand or even a brand from another category. If the resulting icon is better or no worse than it was, your existing icon has a room for improvement. By the same token, no other company should be able to improve its icon by using a part of yours. A good brand is like a tailored suit. It should only look good on you. A variation of swap test is a hand test. It lets you check the effectiveness of your ads, brochures, web pages, or any other brand communication. Take any piece of your communication and cover up with your trademark with your hand. And can you tell whose piece it is? If the communication in question looks as it could have been from anyone else, any other company, any other brand, then it's less than it could be. Because even without a trademark, those familiar with your brand should be able to tell who's talking by its voice or the look or the feel of the materials in that particular ad. Prototypes that can be tested in a realistic situation tend to offer the best feedback because the mental leap from concept to reality is easier. For example, if you can test a package prototype on the shelf next to the competition using a real life shoppers who happen to be shopping in your category, your results will be more accurate than if you conduct a test in the facility using an incentivized subjects. Because the subjects will naturally begin to think more about testing and rather than shopping. In other words, you will avoid getting misled. The field test minimizes the Hawthorne effect. So the Hawthorne effect is when the individuals modify their behavior in response to the awareness of being observed. So the field test can be also used to preview the success or the failure of a new product. If the first point of contact between the customer and the product is the store, then the store is where the product must first succeed. If the product comes in a package, then the package is where the product must succeed. Some of the most promising ideas have died a quick and painful death, not because people didn't want them, but because the products didn't make a sense in the point of contact. So happily, a field test can reveal the fatal flaws before the product is launched, giving the team a chance to build a different package or a different product. Now it gets more interesting. What if the new product idea could be conceived at a packaging level? Instead of beginning in R&D, a product could begin with branding. First by building a set of prototypes for the imaginary product or the package, and then by conducting an opportunity test at the point of contact. If the product looks like a winner where it counts the most in the customer's gut, then it can go further for R&D for more development. Remember, a brand is what they say it is, it's not what you say it is. Sometimes it makes sense to find out first before you spend your whole development budget. Testing or validation is the process of measuring brands against the meaningful criteria. All brand expressions, from icons to actual products, needs to score high 5 in the areas of communication, distinctiveness, relevance, memorability, expendability, and depth. So what is distinctiveness? Distinctiveness is the quality that causes a brand expression to stand out from other competing messages. If it doesn't stand out, the game is over. Distinctiveness is a quality that causes a brand expression to stand out from the other competing messages. If it doesn't stand out, the game is over. Distinctiveness often requires boldness, innovation, surprise, clarity, and not to mention courage on the part of the company. Is it clear enough and is unique enough to pass the swap test? Number 2 is relevance. Relevance asks whether the brand expression is appropriate for its goals. Does it pass the hand test? Does it grow naturally from the DNA of the brand? These are the good questions because it's possible to be the attention grabbing without being relevant, like a girly calendar issued by an auto part company. Number 3 is memorability. It is the quality that allows the people to recall the brand or the brand expression when they need to. Testing for memorability will be difficult because memory proves over time. But testing can be often reveal the presence of its drivers such as emotion, surprise, distinctiveness, and relevance. Next is extendability. Extendability measures how well a given brand expression will work across media, across cultural borders, and across message types. So, in other words, does it have legs? Can it be extended into a series if it's necessary? Now, let's summarize what we learned so far in this model. The standard communication model is an antique method, transforming a brand communication from a monologue to a dialogue by getting a feedback. The feedback, that is, the audience research, can inspire and validate innovation. Research has gotten a bad rep from the creative community. Even though bad research can be looking at the highway through the rearview mirror. But if you have a good research, it can get your brand in reverse and get you back into the highway. Use focus groups to focus on the research, not to be the research. Focus groups are particularly susceptible to Hawthorne effect, which happens when people know when they are being tested. Quantitative research is antithetical to inspiration. For epiphanies that lead to breakthroughs, use qualitative research. Measure your company's brand expression for distinctiveness, relevance, memorability, extendability, and depth. And with this, we come to end of this module. I'll see you in the next one.